Do I have a what? What's up?
That leak.
All right. Ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba. I'm going to skip through.
Three skull.
Is not at all what I thought it would be.
Alright, Carson, I thought I missed picking Max.
Oh, I don't know, like the specialization nickname,
Oh.
The class.
the class nickname. I'm like, that's not exact at all.
Alright, so let's look at things. So teams don't hold here anymore. And I posted why. Well, if I can find it. Why do teams not hold there? Teams don't hold there because in general, search, from Little Spoon. Whoops. How do I do it? It's not in pods anyway. It's in like general search. Nope. We'll get to it. It's from. That didn't work. I gotta put like the full name of it. Okay, from Full Spoon. What is my number? How do I find my number? From time at 67. I'm at 67. This is taking longer than I want. Can I go clips? TV? Clips dot. I don't really care about ones I've sent. I feel like these are super old. Oh, here it is. Jump. So this is why people don't hold there anymore. Ready for this?
Do one-trick Hanzaf changes? Nah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna enter into a Bastion meta, honestly, so hope you're ready for that. Because I'm not ready for it. That did nothing? Okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. That's why you don't hold on Catwalk, by the way. It's a stupid move. Don't do that.
Yeah, so if you hold up here, you have to worry about the Hanzo, like, just free railing you from here. Anyway, so the compositions here, to actually get into the game. We have a Bastion strat with a very odd choice of other DPS. We have a Soldier, which doesn't really contribute anything. He doesn't draw attention away from the Bastion. He's not a flanker who's going around making them look a different way. He's not a Widow forcing them to consider different sight lines. He's just a weaker Bastion, essentially. No dynamic has changed with the Soldier. On the other hand, this team is running like basically standard anti-dive with a little bit more healing here. Or I'm sorry, they're running triple tank, which is fucking weird. So they don't have a shit ton of sustain. They're trying to make up for it with like the Soldier and Hog to kind of like take care of themselves. But like, if they were playing against like any sort of ranged composition, really like that just slowly picks them apart. Like if you came out with Bastion and then like 2 sniper, 1 healer, this just kind of dies to that. It doesn't have any way. It has to stay deathballed. It has to be around shield, and if you can pick it apart, it's just gone.
All what I've been doing with this class.
I mean, mine is Scout, and I run headlong at them in heavy mechs and punch them to death. I don't really
Yeah,
think that's...
exactly.
I don't know what he is right.
So we start off by fucking up pretty badly, in my opinion. So like right now, you should be damage boosting the Bastion. The Hog needs to be here to contribute to the shield war. Because if he's contributing to the shield war, it doesn't really matter that he's flanking. If you contribute to the shield war, eventually you'll find a good hook. And the whole goal for this is to break their shield before you break yours. So they have nowhere to hide behind, so the Bastion gets value, so the hooks get value, so the Widowmaker and the Discords come in. Or in this case, the Soldier and the Discords come in. Which is why damage boost is necessary on your main damage dealer, which is why Hog needs to be grouped. The easiest way to lose this is Hog peeks here, randomly gets halt hooked into this team, and then they can take an advantaged 5v6. So just stay together.
Running a single mercy here.
You what? I'm sorry, Rob.
Also, being in this room is not benefiting them at all. They're not getting any shield pressure. The payload will get here. Bastion will like walk off to like here, and either turret back up or just recon in, and then they're going to be like not doing anything.
Robin?
The Bastion
I
boat.
don't understand why they're running a single mercy. They can't.
Bastion boat. Bastion
Anything.
boat.
You mean the
How are they gonna-
defense?
Yeah, the defense. Enemy
Okay.
team.
This is their bane, right? They don't know how
This is fucking weird angle.
to deal with the Bastion boat.
Well,
So like the Bastion doesn't need to be on the payload. It just needs to be protected. So now the Bastion is frontlining because all the tanks backed up despite them being full health. Not sure what's going on.
40's the one on the
did
Bastion.
Like
Oh,
they should have just body blocked for the Bastion at that point. There's no reason.
Yeah, if he's your most
They should've
valuable
been able to
asset,
break
you
through
might
that
as well just like
uh,
actually pretend he's your
they
most
taking
valuable
over the
asset.
boat. It's bad.
Now everyone's getting poked.
Are you
They're taking
having
advantage.
fond memories of when we shouted at you to be the Bastion on this map, Shay?
You know, I always have fun playing Bastion, so doesn't matter what map. doesn't
And
matter.
then I remember
What
that one,
circumstance.
that same game was the one where Mac was trying to 1v1 Grape on Genji
Huge pick.
when he
Please
was on
kill him.
Ana,
Thank
and
you.
Robin was shouting at him.
Heal,
Nice
man.
you know?
Heal. Where are you, man?
Hey,
Can't control them.
Hey,
Only the hooks are really getting them through.
I looked at it and I realized, I mean, I won that
Push.
fight, and it was
You're up
perfectly
to
okay,
push.
and the team didn't really need help. They were fine.
Yeah.
I like Bod's
Just
positioning.
pleasant.
He's doing
You
well.
gotta believe me, I
Sorry
looked at
doesn't
that
need to
over
be
50 times. Under 100.
I saw the future.
anywhere in
I killed a
particular.
man, but you know, he would have.
You really don't have to go in here. You do not have to go in here. In fact, that's probably the easiest way to throw
Started
this.
World War III if I didn't.
Did you go back in time and kill Hitler?
Oh, the age-old question.
The payload has advanced along its natural course, and half the team is yet to respond to it. Which is why this is even possible. This is really poorly done,
Why is Sorry not on the boat?
Sorry, get up! Get up!
and that was so late.
Sorry, why are you not on the boat?
Alright, everyone's just gonna press Q.
Everyone press Q.
Ham spot doing it.
There's boat positioning. Enemy
Bro,
team
what
is
are you-
oblivious except for a soldier.
Was that a joke?
Yes.
What's he doing?
Why is the team not together?
Hey, Robin.
What's up, man?
Alright, so... When the team has a Junkrat, has a shield comp, you have a bunch of healing. If you can hit them from a bunch of different angles, that's preferred. We're gonna go here for some reason. I don't really understand that.
Which came first?
You're gonna get fucked by Diva
Swiss
Bomb.
Pine.
idea.
Swiss
But I
Elf.
feel like you have a real problem as Arissa pushing this way anyway. Like, going this way doesn't really offer you an advantages because they can just rotate their shield and suddenly you're stuck in... You're only controlling this space on the map, while they have, like, this entire shit to work with, and they can even, like, come up around if they wanted to. So I don't like coming down here.
Elf
I don't think it
yodeling,
makes any
the
sense.
German yodeling, or the cowboy Texas yodel?
Did you say Swiss elf?
Swiss Elf.
Yeah. Which one came first?
Oh, come on, guys.
Big money. I mean, to be fair, I don't think there was a lot of places they could go except behind that top
Lyra should not be
Alright, so we're swapping off half this shit now.
bracket
healing
there.
Cold Pop right now. She should be waiting out.
I don't understand how the Reaper does anything here. So... You now have, like, the same spam damage, essentially. But now they have a soldier and a defense matrix. And you have a long range Reaper. Reaper has to get in super close to be at all effective and get around their shield and avoid their hook and avoid, like, defense matrix. Like,
Her ult and then healing him.
Reaper is probably...
They need to stop focusing on turret mode.
I don't know.
Bastion. Like, recon Bastion is
I
just
don't
as good.
understand.
Well, sorry,
If
Swamp.
you're already
so-
off the point, that is. Yeah.
What Bastion?
Yeah, right. I guess I'm just crazy. No Bastion here.
I want to see a widow from Sorry. They don't have anything really for
Yeah,
her.
I'm surprised they're not running Widow here.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not running with
But I
here.
guess they're a triple tank.
Maybe they just wanted to try.
It's still
different.
good. I mean, as long as you can shoot things.
It just steps in front of his shield and dies. Reaper gets a mech? Did that diva die? Don't know.
The great equalizer.
Well, Team 40's biggest weakness.
So, for some reason, Lyris goes this way? Like...
The great equalizer.
Well, Team
Like, here she is. She's gonna, like, swap
40's
positions with Grape,
biggest weakness.
and then continue walking that way, and she killed herself. And then Fuzzbug is gonna blame Grape.
Oh,
But she just kills herself.
right? That's a good way to abandon your mercy, Grape. Nice of you. Anyhow, the good old
She
Junkrat
completely
tie.
killed herself.
Did that
From my
trigger you?
perspective.
Man,
Nah.
I feel so silly that I did not get the bulwark on my.
So this isn't
Junkrat
even well
tie.
coordinated
Did
either.
that trigger you?
Man,
Nah.
I feel so silly that I did not get
Versus in the middle.
the bulwark
Diva's in.
on my long range guys who just sit there and shoot at the enemy. I got my fucking tactician.
I don't know why we swapped off Mercy.
No, but like, but she did. Oh wait, I
Yeah,
never.
so that was super weird. We had like an awkward comp. We didn't rotate with the payload, so when we set up off the payload, like, we got picked a bunch. We went in a really bad spot, and they overwhelmed us, strangely enough. Meanwhile,
Let's take bets on if someone's gonna step on that trap in the middle of the road. I think they will.
No. Come on.
100%.
so we're setting
I
up
bet
high
you
ground. They have a
Red Bull.
Hanzo,
Sure.
Red Bull.
and they have a Widow. Widow gets the opening pick.
No bet, no deal, no deal.
Yeah, see, Widow takes so much space here.
They set up shield on high ground and are going to be immediately forced to abandon it.
Oh man.
Here,
I
I'll
mean,
shoot.
Oh, they blew up the trap.
No, they blew up the trap.
Oh,
Lost
Get
money,
super
though.
staggered back all the way into spawn at this point, and
You
just
lost that
recontest
Red
last
Bull
second.
money.
I hate Red Bull.
You cannot set up here. They will kill you here. You're still down 2. It's bad
Oh,
positioning.
where's your heal orb? Why is it not on res? Vote. Vote.
Surgical.
I mean, this Hanzo shouldn't be
Good
here,
old
but like,
Hanzo Widow.
Hey,
you guys have time to regroup. You got 2 picks. You can just wait, because your team's
is
still
there a
respawning.
quicker way to go up? To fly up in the spectator mode?
Press shift.
I see.
Shift is easier.
Q and E, Q E, yeah.
My team realizes and backs off for a second. So their Widow should be like rotating around here and just sitting uncontested here forever. Hanzo can, I don't know, play with this high ground, I guess. Play with this high ground, I guess. I don't know.
What is there? Oh, confused.
Who, attack or defense?
Defense.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's like they wanted someone to contest the Hanzo,
What is
but
the
Cool Pup
bad,
didn't die.
bad choice there?
The Winston Road Dog, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Just
Winston and
those two?
Roadhog can't move together.
There's the Widow way back there. Hey, Widow, how's it going?
Like Roadhog, Winston needs protection, and Roadhog can't really provide that for him.
Everyone's forced to give space.
That's why he's dead.
Who's gonna die?
They're not contesting card at all, though.
Well, they really can't, because
No, because they don't have a.
they have a
tank.
Winston and a
Yeah.
non-die count.
Good old scatter.
That's a.
Enemy team is actually going to be regrouped here in a second. Doing this split thing kind of well. Without a proper shield, like, both snipers can really do work. So here's the Widow on the Savage flank again. Seems good.
Oh, sorry,
Did you
Karen.
see that? Did you see the Sorry trying to kill down?
Yes, I did. I was watching that specifically.
Into the iris. Cease your resistance.
Man, that Widow was so low.
Alright, you still need line of sight onto your teammates with this thing, so you can't just put it there.
Oh,
It's only on you. There you go.
where's your Discord orb? Bro?
I should
Oh, there it
die
is on
here.
the Diva.
You're focusing.
Rez is dead.
What?
Kill Rez! Holy shit, kill that
Why
Winston.
is Grape ulting?
Daka, daka, daka.
Who knows?
And he's going for a 6k. The fat 6k.
Yeah, it's bad ultimates here. Alright, now we're back on the Reaper. When they have double sniper and a shield and you don't, I don't understand it.
Is Genji good at all against triple tank?
Not really. But like, you can deal with the snipers.
I mean, ideally, you should be trying to kill those snipers, but I think that's too wide. Open up a space for that.
Yeah, it doesn't work there. You just need the Widow. There's the flanking Reaper.
The old Reaper. I mean, I guess you can't hit on Reaper anymore. I think it's pretty good enough.
I mean, I would just try to Junkrat with your high ground advantage. Cause like, look at how split we are. We have like 2 people flanking. We have Rez trying to play shield, but none of his teammates are trying to play shield. So like, he's obviously loses the shield war. Just against like Hanzo fucking Orisa. He just like loses the shield war for free. And so like these flankers have to get value in. But like Genji is the only one who can cross this gap safely. And so Reaper's like goal is like to drop down onto here, but even when he does that, like I don't know what's supposed to happen. So Genji goes in, 1v2, he gets scattered. Reaper is yet to do anything. Rez is completely out to dry. We're going to use some ults here, but we haven't contested the cart. So we're using ultimates to try to turn what is a lost fight, while also like giving the payload space to push.
The tanks are playing.
Like, yeah, so like our healers are up here when our healers could be back here to actually support this. The team is, and then Reaper's somewhere. Reaper and Genji haven't been in this fight. It's been like a 486.
Far from each other.
Where are the
Their
supports?
team is
why
not
is
with
the,
them.
Why is the support pair back there with the?
Yeah, I
don't.
Or are they just being held back by the Mercy and Widow?
Like they were scared. I guess just.
We didn't take a fight here. Essentially, we burned Hogult for the privilege of losing second. And we're gonna see it here too.
I don't know.
You guys seem confused about what you want here. You're finally on a Widow, but now you have Orisa here, which doesn't make any sense. Orisa is going to be solo behind a shield, and then she's going to die. You have a Moira, which also doesn't make sense. This should just be Mercy, so that she can help the Widow on the high ground and pocket the Zenyatta. Like, this space is so important, and you're not going to be able to control it without a dive tank.
Amazing.
Set up.
All this is.
Grape's just poking things.
Challenging the Widow.
So like.
Dying for no reason.
Still split.
Pretty much have to concede this corner now.
If Cool Pups on Diva.
Well, let's see how uncontested this payload goes.
Okay. Sorry, he's on window now.
You're even.
That'll help.
You're even. Okay, you know they have Hanzo wolves. You can't come through here. Would you even want to? What purpose does this coming through here even serve? Like, what sort of space are you saving for yourself?
Oh
my god.
I'm surprised Cool Pup didn't try to
Halo's
get that,
not
'cause he was
contested.
relatively close and heard it coming.
Maybe he just doesn't speak
Halo's not
Japanese.
contested.
Cart is uncontested.
Playing deathmatch here.
Yeah,
Cart is
Cool Pup dives a Widow who has hookup and just leaves.
completely
The two
uncontested.
supports are all alone. Diva
Look how split we are.
and
Diva
Grape
and Grape are way out there.
The shield's
Cart
way
is
forward.
going because, you
We're
know,
finally
Cart is-
contesting. And Rez basically can't live.
cares.
Hanzo.
Into the iris.
Forced to use
Like
trance.
they're just not.
They got so much room before we contested. Like, that's just
Respecting the enemy.
It's just really fucking disappointing. That's so bad. That was so bad, guys. Now you've given them one fight to, like, they just need one fight to win this. I don't know why he isn't walling in response. Oh my god, he's clueless. What is that shield?
Enemy team.
They're just not waiting forever too now. Now they're going through this fucking choke. Why?
Oh, they got their healer. Their single healer.
I don't understand these like team rotations.
Oh, they switched to full dive. Enemy team.
Watch out, sorry. Not full dive. Lucio.
Alright, look how split we are. Here's Grape. Here's the main tank. Here's the other DPS. Here is Cool Pup. Here's the main healer.
I still don't understand why Rez
We
is
lose
still
this,
on,
right?
Ursa.
So Rez is in contesting point, but throwing down shield
It
here.
was fine. 1v5 with it.
He's still backing up.
It's dead.
Cool Pup
Very
is
quick
also
thing
not contesting
to
point.
do.
She knew what but things fall apart.
We
Not even dying on point.
now contest point. Grape die, like, the entire fight happens, and then the first person to die respawns, and they're the one to first contest the point. That's so bad. Remember, like, fights have to happen for, like, a fucking reason, you know? You're not fighting to get kills so much as to control an objective. So, like, even if you're losing, you gotta make sure that they're not getting everything they want from the fight. If you're in control of a point, you can stall the point for additional control percentage. If they're pushing a payload, you can prevent them from advancing the payload as they force them to kill each of you before they can advance the payload. Like, and you're just not doing that at all. Eichenwald will be a good example of this, I think.
Smack. Who was Mac? He played.
I don't know.
Mac doesn't know what he plays. Okay.
So normally you see like shield comps on this point set up like right here, or maybe even a little bit more forward, and the other team is forced to rotate this way, either with dive mobility or Lucio speed boost. Pharah changes that a little bit. Pharah has the ability to come over like this wall or go like far into second point essentially and rain down on anyone sitting here. And so the adaptation you see sometimes is instead you run a McCree and you kind of hold like back here. You hold back here because you have a retreat path to the mini here and a retreat path to this other mini. And high ground just becomes a little cramped and easily dove almost. He doesn't have as good line of sight. For that to work though, these dive tanks have to hold like here or here to prevent the enemy dive from just jumping him. It's rough. The Pharah has a lot of good sight lines here. And sometimes you see defensive Pharah because like this entire tower means she can play peekaboo while raining down from a distance. Or she can go into second point and do similar. So what we're looking here from this team is for a Grape to get value, and then trigger dive off of that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Should go around all the way.
Where's he go?
Long flank. He's going
He's
over
just
straight
peeking
down
there.
main.
That's fine, that's fine. They're giving main, so you can go straight down main. He's going to play around the center building.
Well, they're not contesting it, so I guess that's okay.
Yeah, he just like two-shots their Mercy somehow. So now the McCree, like they can just take this slowly. Like McCree is fucked.
He got a pick.
McCree's on low ground. That can trigger a dive.
That's a good one too. Man, I haven't
Let's use his jump.
recorded Eichenwald in a long time.
McCree is dead. Perfect. Boat mode's in a fine position. They're using shields here.
Remember where my
Who's
set
team
things are.
on? Wait, what? How did Mercy
That's a
die?
good one too.
Grape
Man, I
just
haven't
like
recorded
fuck up.
Eichenwald in a long time. I don't remember where my
Grape fucks up.
set things are.
Grape kills his Mercy.
Boat should get fucked here. Wow, okay. Enemy team's target focus is fucked because Winston dove boat and then...
Hey, wait, is
Diva was
Sorry
like-
Doesn't
their
really
DPS
matter.
player?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what's going
I
on
mean, I think he
here.
plays support as well. Random pick in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
So they won that. Cool.
Wow.
Alright, so now like they're controlling high ground, but like you can just sit like way the fuck up here while pocketed by Farah and just like slowly chip them and force them back. And then trigger dive off of that. You don't like they're going to drop down to contest. You don't have to jump up here. You're just like looking for a poke initiation or a poke phase and waiting for them to commit to you because you can't go up. So if your dive tanks here and you commit to a high ground, you're going to line of sight your one healer. You're going to use your cooldowns to get up. They're going to, since they're all together, just shoot you as 6, right? You're jumping into like a McCree stun if you're not careful, and Discord if you're not careful. And then you're going to be forced to retreat by dropping down, but you don't have your cooldown, so they get to drop down to follow you. And finish you off because the McCree still has the high ground advantage over you. And then if they get low from dropping, since they haven't had to use their jump cooldowns or their shift or anything like that, they can just retreat with theirs. So that's the flow of the fight here, which is why you usually see like this not happen. The way you beat this is by getting a crucial pick with like a Widowmaker or just like line of sighting it as you go around and forcing them to actually drop to contest. It's like you can have the dive tanks just play like over in here and the sports play over in there while the fire just plays like way the fuck back up here. That's how I play this.
Grape escaped with like...
That's not how we
so
see
little
this
health.
happen though. So Grape is playing like low ground right now.
I guess
Rez
it's
is
good that
down.
they start...
Jump, fucked up the jump.
Oh, damn it.
Grape is like... Grape is right now not only the prime target, but also in view of basically everyone on the enemy team.
There's the
Start
dive.
and dive because...
He's using no cover whatsoever. Now Genji's gonna fall
Is,
for it too.
that
Here's
means they
Mercy.
held all ults for
Woo!
this...
Don't really see the point of diving up there immediately anyway. They had point. They weren't contesting.
If you're getting payload for free, you might as well just wait for something to change. A lot of the times.
I mean,
Unless you have a clear
they
advantage.
didn't have to drop, but they just went up there for no reason. They weren't even compelled to.
The defending team?
The attacking team.
I'm saying the defending team kind of has to drop to contest.
Eventually, but
Yes. They can poke at first.
Both teams are ideally just looking to poke. Because committing is actually a
like
downside.
they jumped up in a 4v6 situation there.
Sapphire's not getting in
So
any
both
poke
can
right now.
follow.
All the McCree and Zenyatta are.
Maybe Lyra's just got really tired of playing.
So that Genji should die.
Because I
That
think...
Genji just dashes the fuck in. What the fuck?
Yeah, 'cause
Why
it's
does
not
this
like
Genji
both can
dash
follow.
in? The Genji should die.
Maybe Lyra's just got really tired of playing Mercy all night. Because I think she... no, she played some Moira.
Playing like a ground-based forest strat? That's
Enemy
not safe
team's
for
doing
anyone.
the dive pretty well. Question that Winston ult, but oh, they're just battling. Look at those two.
Alright, we're finally getting some poke onto the high ground. They have high noon though, so we can't go too high. have to be cognizant of that.
Pharmacy should be destroying them right now. McCree can't really fly at that distance.
Where is Grape?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Grape is still not using cover and in full line of sight of 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, 5 of them. This is a huge issue.
Grape should not be that close. Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, Mac.
Mac is going to get trans. Are you playing without me? What the fuck? I asked if you wanted to play. You were like, "Nah, bro. Maybe later." And so do your thing, and I'm like, "Ah, shit." All right, so this blade is bad not only because they have trance, although they don't even. They'll probably trance this, but like you're already starting disadvantaged in the fight, and you're getting payload distance. You don't really need to initiate anything.
Yeah, do it, Mac. Woo! We got the trans out. Mission accomplished.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know about that, Rez, sorry. The boat somehow stayed alive for that long.
I was focusing on the diva ult. No.
Cool, they're resetting on high ground. But for some reason, unbeknownst to me, they're gonna completely just give up high ground here. The enemy team. Which is like the only reason why we even push.
Oh, we booped him off.
He gets booped off. Cool.
They should be able to get the Zen there. It's a free dive on the Zen.
I wonder what pressure Grape thought his team had that he's able to barrage in the middle of 6 people who are paying attention for free.
Oh, great. He needs to remember to ask for like Diva DM and stuff if he's gonna do that.
I don't understand the logic of popping ults after one of your own gets picked.
Yeah, we used Valkyrie there after Grape dies. Alright, so instead we swapped to a McCree. So a McCree on the low ground does nothing against high ground.
Sounds so good.
And you don't have the team comp
Everyone
that
hears
wants
it.
to like rotate the fuck up here. So this is useless in general. Like it doesn't make sense. They completely
intention, I think.
they completely give you the high ground randomly, and you're not going. Like I don't know why they give you the high ground first off. And since they're defenders, like this was theirs by right at this point where the payload is. So like your McCree just shouldn't be effective. I don't know. Like at least Widowmaker can get
Genji,
out there.
get that Genji!
Where you go? Oh, there's his end
Not-
here. You're kind of alone, Rez. Alright, well
That's a
worked
good
out
dive
for
on the
him.
Zen, I guess.
Yeah.
For the enemy team.
So I don't know what this guy's doing. He's like suiciding. The enemy team like
Watch out
stops
for
playing the
McCree.
game.
You guys haven't heard him ult.
And they're just like all
Make sure
super
you're looking
staggered
at
in.
McCree, who hasn't ulted yet.
I don't know what the enemy team is doing there.
I think the enemy team should be able to hold this.
Swap to damage boost line.
So like instead, like this McCree, gonna walk all the way the fuck around. Win this fight.
Harris. Alright. And there's the McCree ult, and that's it.
How?
Mac, jump off the edge. Or just die.
Like Mac uses ult after Transcendence wore off, right?
So we like committed
So
one,
they're
two,
timing it,
three ultimates. They committed 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 ultimates.
You didn't get anything from that.
Didn't get anything from it.
30 seconds remaining.
Here you are again, a McCree on the low ground. What's your goal? Coming up through hotel, they know.
Enemy team should hear him coming. Yeah. Oh, Max running in 1v3. They should have just killed him.
Wait, I didn't even notice Grape was playing McCree. But they did swap players, and sorry, not that it.
Like, why McCree here? I don't understand why you would go McCree here.
If
Is he just
anything,
trying to
it's like
protect
Widow.
from the counter dive?
I don't know.
I don't know. You never had the high ground to do that shit. So that was just weird. We played first point and then we just like didn't play the map second point. I understand how the comp was supposed to work.
Gita in.
He didn't comp any second, so they didn't.
Attackers incoming.
Alright, so we're running double healer. Oh, really death ball. Oh, we don't have Lucio. I'm sorry, we're on defense. It doesn't really matter, they have Lucio. They're looking to push in and take like this space on the other side of pillar and then leverage that with their flanker. Flanking tracer. They're looking for your Ana and your McCree to dive. You don't have the strongest like way of preventing that. Brigitte is like your best option. You just like linger here for a bit. You're just waiting. And then after they press tab and see the comp, they commit to this. See, the tracer's in, but the tracer's in a bit early. So the tracer's gonna pressure this shit and risk of dying.
Pretty good push together by the enemy team.
Yeah, but they blew trance and bubble
Yeah, they wasted boost though,
for amp.
without actually pushing onto point.
Yeah. Winston's in the middle of the brawl. They for some reason went into this room. This fight's over though. Like the tanks didn't get a clean enough initiation. They should just go and die.
Dive means that they should just dive, but they were just playing the Reinhardt shield.
Yeah. They didn't actually commit to anything. That was fine by us. We punished that well enough. When is the next actual thing? I don't know how that happens.
Oh yeah, shit, I think this grasshopper thing.
See what the enemy.
Alright, we never like take choke back.
It's like robot XCOM.
Despite it being up the entire time.
Oh,
Wow.
Super bizarre.
See what the
So they
enemy
lose
team's doing
one,
here.
but we give them choke. Now they start going to
everyone's
choke.
gonna
So.
turn around for Genji and get completely.
They're all getting high ground. Good idea.
This Nano's like fucking random.
Pass into the
Yeah,
iris.
okay.
Where's the purple?
Good trans, I like the trans.
So you're just slowly being choked out from a
Who
bunch
is
of
he
angles.
focusing? I wish Sorry had stayed high ground.
Who's dead anyway, I think.
Get him, Grape.
Come on, Grape.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I feel like they might have been able to make it to contest, maybe.
Yeah, they lost that.
Did they use all their ults besides grab?
Yep.
Everyone press Q.
Our team did not press Q, so. Well, they did press.
So right now, no one on this team is holding high ground, so like the same thing can happen where like they spend their cooldowns to get to high ground, and then like drop on you afterwards. Similar to like Dorado, this should be completely lost. If the Tracer also goes up there,
Some
it's like pretty bad.
but not as many.
Enemy teams fighting without their energy. What?
What is this grab? Your one saving grace?
Mac, please. Mac. Mac. How
Once
Mac?
again, like, you knew you were going to be down because you just spent a lot of ultimates. And so your goal seemed to be like an early contest, but you never really did. It's like everyone died off of the choke that I think you guys were trying to fight on. You like lost your nerve,
Get out of there, Grape.
and then you just keep dying.
Get out of there.
Yeah, Grape sticks around too long.
Okay, Grape.
But
Never mind. Stop healing.
Was he trying to grab the wall? I'm not even sure.
I think he probably like hit the wall and like
This
double
is
tapped
just,
by
like,
accident,
all
so
over
he
the
stopped
place.
it all time. Didn't have it in.
I don't even know, dude. We're still on the Zarya after the failed grab after Dirty Rez decides he wants to go dive defense.
Let's just assume he's trying to regroup with his team. Just die on purpose.
Winston is the only one who can push W. So that's like a giant problem.
Sorry, is all alone up there.
Yeah, sorry, it's all alone.
Up, but
Winston's forced to immediately
should
drop.
still be able to kill him. Free.
Oh, had to blow his grenade on the
Tracer.
Tracer.
It's a quick one. Fight's not on payload. But at least you're winning it.
Man, I'm offended. At the
Are
fact that he was so
you?
low. No one called him properly.
There's no debt, no faith,
Health bars
going to
buzzer hits
die.
you, right? Is that another option?
It's you have to go. You have to set a hotkey for it. It's not.
What?
There's no automatic hotkey bound to it. It's pretty stupid.
It's fucking bizarre.
What hotkey do you use?
So there's a fight not on payload. Like, it was originally under bridge, right? That's where things like kind of started. And then we just continually gave ground and ended up losing the subsequent fights. So instead of getting 2 fights, one under bridge and then one just before the final contest, the final point capture, we just, gave it all up and lost. So we only got 1 fight and trickled.
Told you.
Yeah, actually fucking commit to something.
I'm gonna use delete.
Use whatever you like.
So what's going on here with our composition? We're still running opposing tanks. It kind of supports the Winston has huge problems going in deep. He now has his ultimate. But he'd be better served as just like a Reinhardt here. Sorry, it's just not getting healed. Here. Boat is positioned. He's positioned safely, but he's not positioned well. He'd be better off like over here on the low ground by the mini, so he has line of sight onto this choke and can contribute nade, can contribute sleep, can heal the tank line who's trying to hold here. You just have like a better angle of attack. I don't know where Sari is, but like people are taking this weird angle. So like Mac here should also be over here. There's no reason for him to try to like out angle his shield here and just try to see through this gap when he can play safely here. Because right now he's actually diveable. If the Winston jumps and lands here, Mac will be booped this way, his shield will be burned, and he'll die before the bubble breaks, and the Ana can contribute healing towards him. He doesn't have enough support really to help that, and the orb's down. So that's a risk. This Winston bubble doesn't do anything because you're not actually gonna hold this position against the team. They can just blow your bubble up. You're not doing anything in the meantime. You're hitting literally nothing here. So this bubble doesn't do anything, and so by the time this payload advances to here, when you might actually want the bubble, like when you're standing here, so you can hold this position with your Ana healing you from range, like you won't have it, so you'll just get rolled. Instead, we see the McCree go down. So here's the McCree, he's discorded. He hits a headshot because he's not playing cover well. He like leaves the safety of the pillar. And there's a breakdown of like scrimmage lines because like Rez is forced to back up because he wasted his bubble. And so like now Sari is both discorded and the center of attention, and an easy dive even if like the Genji isn't here. I don't think Rez needed to ult. I think he could have just died.
That was really helpful.
Too many ults now.
Yeah, how many did you use? 1, 2, 3, 4? Jesus, they used 1.
Run into the orb back.
Should get crushed this next fight.
Now I can tell who's dying and who's not.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
It is. It's kind of vital.
Res overextends, that's bad.
Res died for no reason.
Yeah.
I like how it disappears behind walls too. Wow, this is revolutionary.
Wait, haven't you noticed these? Well, I guess maybe you haven't been watching everything I've recorded. So, one of the times, Spoon, I think it was when we had the...
We're up to Ryan. We're like holding a corner, seems fine. Are we getting poked from behind that corner? Not really. Grip's not in position. Mac is doing his best to be as far away from the wall and like peek the shield as possible. But Mode is positioned well. Like that. Sari could maybe be high ground. Wanted to, even against dive. But he's getting his poke in. Warrior's on a safe angle.
The in-house...
Things are set up pretty well. Bubble didn't seem to be communicated with aggression. He could just let the one dude tickle him. Shield lasts half a second. Winston just dies. That's wonderful.
Spoon came in to spectate.
Riz could have stepped into this.
It's a perfectly good pillar behind him. He chose to run toward the Reinhardt. Double the distance away.
But Spoon was spectating, and he's so used to like watching VODs where I'm controlling the camera and moving it every point that he like sat at first point for a while before he was like, wait a second, I have to move myself.
Yeah, it's true. Alright, so let's discuss this map a little bit. So it started out that in like beginning meta of this, that this high ground was important. And then like you'd run like a shield comp up here and they'd like rain down across this choke, across this entrance. And then what would have happen is like teams would have like a dive comp, like a tracer or something, and they just split push and force you to rotate, and then they catch you in transition. So people don't use this high ground defensively anymore. Instead we set up defensively on point. And I'll get to it once we see it. 3, 2, 1. So now instead, sometimes you'll see like a shield tank up here, but you leave like DPS, hit scan, supports up here, and like the tanks take a forward position either like here or here depending on how enemy is rotating. Now once they do that, creating space for their team. So since this high ground ends up being relatively important, what you can do is set up here as Winston, and when they dive the Zenyatta who's up here, or your Zenyatta who's back here, if they've come this way, you just then counter dive to assist. And your Zenyatta can like line of sight back towards this mini here, or go into second point arch. So that's one way to play it. As the defending team, as the attacking team, what you see sometimes is other people come into second point and rotate this way from that like mega room that's like down in here. And so then the tanks are like basically left to hold here. You force these people who are on the higher ground to rotate back to behind point, which lets your tracer like come around and like harass them here. Okay, so that's like the meta, sort of. Either way, like tanks hold at the choke to prevent them from taking spaces. DPS and supports who are mobile generally sit on like the high ground or rotate away from the advancing push. And you actually set up a line of scrimmage like here or here or here as best you can, and then things break down from there. We're not going to see that, however.
Alright, what do they have here?
Alright. So we're running Junkrat Widow. Which means that Rez and Ray Crisis don't really have anywhere to be, essentially. Their shifts being used aggressively means that, like, it's hard for them to kill a backline threat. They don't have the nice tracer flank to always make the Zenyatta worried. This will always be telegraphed. So they're relying on either poke damage from this, or poke damage from this really contributing to the fight, because the tanks aren't able to do it, essentially.
Enemy team
Widow
full
dive.
dive.
And full dive.
So where they're setting up...
Team 40 Widow.
So it'd be really difficult for them to come like all this way and then use here as a launching point onto the high ground, because they get counter dove and there's the high burst of damage here and here, and they're taking poke from like all these sight lines if they come in. So what instead the enemy team is going to do is going to rotate down in here, come around, and launch from here instead. I'd prefer if they had like the tracer down here to like catch, essentially. So when the Winston jumps up here, the first thing Boat is going to do is like drop 9 times out of 10. In which case the tracer's right here to like intercept. This is not what we see. They just Team 40 just doesn't react to this at all. They know they're over here. See them going. Here is the tracer. It's just way over here. They know someone's over there. They saw this rotation.
Going way around. They should suspect something by now.
Boogie.
He shoots this way.
Yeah,
oh, Boat knows.
Boat knows.
Boat sees them. Boat does not react at all.
Wait, what? I thought they were just gonna get the high ground. Yeah.
Boat's fucked. See how quickly they got onto both healers? 1, 2. Like instantly, here comes the tracer to catch the people coming down. Boat jumps a different way, which actually splits him from his team. Rez bubbles here completely uselessly and seems to be now finally jumping after the dive's already gone. Their Zenyatta is perfectly safe. Grape isn't contributing damage onto anything meaningful. Their Lucio is like close enough to the Zen to contribute, although he could actually be like here and firing into like Winston bubble at least.
They should have jumped Boat. They saw Boat shooting at them. Alright, Boat's fucked.
There's the Mercy on point, dead. Both supports down instantly.
Maybe Boat didn't know.
I don't know how you
Didn't
don't
know.
know.
He knew. He shot at them, right?
Yeah, he did, but maybe he was just guessing. And then he like looked away, I think.
Right, so that's you can see like what they did and the rotation you're supposed to make to prevent that from happening, and then the tracer gets to play around in your backline, and then you have a standard sort of like mix going on. There was no reaction from Team 40, so they got a great initiation from just this distance with a Tracer around to catch people as they came off. And their dive just completely discombobulated the defense. So let's see what.
But like they should be able
Second
to hear the
point.
footsteps. They're trucking along that side path there. I don't know.
Chris, I finally beat this.
Alright. So second point. Hit scans love this high ground. And then this high ground too. This entire high ground is really nice. You get nice lines of sight to like the fucking payload path, which is just this, and it ends right here. Right? This point over here and this point over here oversee most of it, so you're mostly fighting for that. For that reason, dive defense is pretty strong. Widowmaker has good sight lines on top of Siege Tank, on top of here, way the fuck back here a lot of the times. She has some decent nice, but there are also some good flank routes, which make her life a little difficult. You can come underneath here. If the payload has been pushed to here and people are setting up on high ground, you can have like attackers come this way and then like dive from here and jump up. They can pushing like this way up past Siege Tank means they're eating a lot of poke from like this sight line, which is an issue. So this is pretty much out, unless you're trying to set up a Widow and you have better long range. Pharah here has some issues because the hit skin has a lot of angles to work with, but it could work. I don't know, things to see here. Love Tracer here, like Widow, like McCree. Dive tanks are fantastic because you have to swap between low ground and high ground sometimes.
This 3 skull mission.
3 skull the highest.
So what are we doing here? We still have that like poke advantage. Mostly the first defense comes here, if not immediately at choke. And we're not holding at choke. So
Not at all.
giving choke for free.
In terms of dragging the
Which is
fangs,
something you can assume. So right now the Winston's not on the high ground. The Winston seems to think we're going to contest here, which can work. He just needs to like line of sight here and be worried about like the Tracer coming to prevent that.
what level is it?
Winston's still on the low ground.
Oh,
So we get the Zenyatta. We're up 1. What do we do?
Good thing.
Nothing. We let them continue pushing the payload. We're like incidentally contesting. We're just giving ground when we're up.
it was like slightly below level 20, you know.
Hello?
I'm far beyond.
Alright, that took too long.
At Dragonfang Z, I've been to level 45.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. I've been working on my game.
Is the highest 50 now, you said?
Highest is 50 now.
Pray for me, Jay. I'm doing a defense mission.
Oh boy.
So they're
I guess I
taking the
just have to
second, which
accept
isn't
that
so
one of
great
my
because
guys
the Widow,
died,
yeah, has this
because
long ass sight line to
shooting,
just punish
sorry.
There's no other way
They
I'm
still
gonna...
haven't figured out the
I feel
Tracer's
like
Mac and Winston are on the same
back
page.
behind them.
their goal is focus. I don't understand this comp. Like, sorry he's getting picks, but is he calling out body shots? And even if he does, can their team realistically follow up on that with the Junkrat?
Why is there no
No.
healing on res?
Yeah, there's no like coordination here. It's just like
Why would res instead?
Okay. Ooh,
how does that happen?
ooh,
Whoops.
big money, big prizes.
What is the death of 2 of your teammates to fucking Diva Bomb trigger you to use Valkyrie? I understand. So like the goal right here should be like everyone die on payload as much as possible. Like it immediately triggered these 2 ultimates, which don't make any sense to me. If you just die on payload, and then you use these 2 ultimates to contest this final fight, that's preferred. Like swap Sorry to just Tracer to make sure you absolutely can touch. Come on to point.
Wait, did Lairs just res? What? Why did she Valk? I don't understand.
I don't understand either. Instead, Widow's gonna stagger further.
They won't even get another contestant because they moved the point.
They could have. They absolutely could have. Alright, so you've given up the point. Rez is gonna like jump this way instead of like retreating into his team, and he's gonna die because of it.
Hey, we get to see Diablo.
Oh my god, what are you doing,
Maybe.
Rez?
If they push it past this little entrance.
Or I should have just jumped back to his team instead of.
He's fighting for some reason. You guys need to regroup. They're going to stagger you. Even if you get this Winston kill, like their spawns right there, they're cutting you off from this direction. You need to get behind like this line as soon as possible so you can regroup.
What is Grape
Grape's
doing
not
back
doing
there?
it.
Probably dying. Is he dying?
He's dying. The enemy Winston ulted for Grape only, basically.
This walls doesn't make any sense. You know exactly, like, there's nothing you can do with this information except watch your teammates die.
I don't
We get to
understand.
turn on life
So
bars
in first
every
sight doesn't make
time
sense.
game
Yes.
starts.
Every time the game starts or resets or any of that stuff.
The Widow won't be
It's
effective
just
here on this
instinct
last
to
point.
me now.
Alright, Rez is taking some space, puts down bubbles, says let's brawl. Neither of his supports can provide him any Neither of his DPS provide him any support. Like, he's not being healed by either of the supports right now. Like, an orb would be the easiest thing in the world. But like, Junkrat's just like casually lobbing mines in this direction. And Widow has like the worst sightline in the world on this. Like, if she was back here, maybe she gets to help out. But like, or if she's like back here.
I don't feel like Widow's a really good pick on this.
So Rez is left out to dry and is forced to immediately retreat. Which means the payload gets free distance.
Well, so now sorry you can swap. Or not.
Well, we're gonna Rez him. I don't understand this Diva Bomb. This trance seems awkward. Why do we trance?
I don't feel like Widow's a really good pick on this.
This section? Well, so now sorry you can swap. Or not.
We had Diva Bomb, so we don't need to use trance to help him remech. Or to help him maintain health. He's gonna have a free remech here in a second. I don't know why we trance here.
Yeah, this. I don't understand the D-bomb.
It's Mac.
Yeah.
Enemy team resets nicely. Well, that's good. But now you have Tire that needs to be used as soon as they come in. And they have 3 ultimates. Two important defensive ultimates to let them sustain this fight and dive really fucking deep. Grape should be tiring. Tire. He tires into beat drop. Unfortunately, he waited too long. Or he didn't wait long enough for this tire. I think he needed to use tire a little bit earlier, and once the beat was out, he could like circle around for a bit because it wasn't being shot at. Best I could tell. But we're like kind of split. We're like engaging in the middle of a trance, which can only commit us a shit ton of like ults. Both was like back here, but dies to the diva, so we're not protecting him, and we're just split again.
But Grape wasn't patient enough. Because he tried to ult right after Lucio
And the Genji on the flank is getting people,
had ulted. He could have held it a little longer.
and this is over.
And he got focused right after he cast it because the enemy team knew where he was. And wasn't otherwise preoccupied.
He needed to find a safer spot for that, or be pocketed during it, so the diva couldn't just kill him. My team didn't help him there. So that was fucking bad.
Max Ana.
Why are they not picking something? Oh,
Ah,
God.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh god, they let him Doomfist. No wonder
Back
they
in
get
my
full
days.
health here. Alright, so they're holding up here, which is interesting. So like the rotation 2-second point forces this just right out. Alternatively, you could speed this way and kind of line of sight most of them and force them to drop anyway. So
Is Carson still here? Did he
like,
leave?
just don't fight this straight up and you're fine.
Yeah.
I just haven't heard you say anything in a while.
Did I say what?
I don't
If you press tab now, you see their exact composition. You haven't seen any of them. You see
think
the
you
tracer.
said anything in a while.
What are
What
you
is
doing?
this?
Playing
app?
the
Playing some battle tech.
I see.
Alright. So boat's gonna be left behind, I predict. Because Lucio's already way the fuck in front of him. They're gonna just jump up top on like the soldier.
If you're gonna
If
dive,
he's-
dive.
Yeah,
they
they
sustain to be.
yeah. So Robin's gonna like they don't commit to this dive right away.
What is this?
Playing
app?
the
Playing some battle tech.
I see.
They're just they see they're like jumping in and then they don't commit here and they rotate back and then they go in. And they eat a shit ton of poke before it.
If you're gonna dive, dive. You don't have the sustain to be doing what you're doing. As a
They only have
Over.
Lucio and Zen,
Oh,
and
God.
that I don't know why. I don't know why enemy Zen didn't die there.
I'm just gonna watch Mac. I want to see how godlike his I've
Get out,
always wanted
Grape.
to be
Go,
godlike
Grape, go!
Doomfist,
Or die.
but
So you traded a little bit, which is okay, but like you don't have they have better healing and better poke. You can't just sit there. You just have to like fucking go. As Robin was putting it. That position they were in would be great to get a shit ton of like AoE damage with Winston though, so like
he's black.
oh hey,
you can do that
hey.
shit.
When I said
And
that, Mac's
Doomfist.
camera just suddenly started swiftling left and right really crazily. He heard me.
Why is Sorry Matrixing any of this? Where's that bitch back? There
They
you
should
go.
have just over there. She stood in that space too long. If you recall, she would have just been on the hay side.
Oh, they're trying
Yeah,
to do
I
what
agree.
the other team did? No, they're coming down lower.
What are they
Yes,
doing?
they are circling around from second point,
I just don't know.
but the other team is expecting it.
They don't point. Force them
All
to
they gotta
do
do is
something.
get in that little corner there where Rez is. They're good.
But they
Yeah. They completely let boat mode off to dry. Like, you need to stay with your fucking person, dude. Like, holy shit.
boat mode alone. Is boat calling for help?
That boat mode's dead.
Exposed to the soldier and it's
Trouble.
bad.
Do it, Mac. Bonk, bonk.
Oh yes!
bonk.
Oh yeah! And the entire team is dead though. But hey, you got it! Oh, punch him, yeah! Oh no, you
Oh,
missed!
Hey, Mac was doing a good job.
Were you just watching the, Are you both of you just watching Mac's perspective?
No, I'm not.
I'm watching Mac. I saw him. He was doing work.
I feel like you could have killed more if you did it right now.
So that plan was good. It's just like
I
the
even sent him
execution
that,
wasn't.
that guide that my friend
I
wrote
have
up.
6 ults. It's gonna be fucking rough.
Oh, Mac right now.
I don't know. He complained that it was a wall
Jesus Christ.
text, and it was at the time. Alright, 40, get your asses out of there.
No, Mac,
Oh,
get the blood.
Alright, he's gonna get like super staggered.
Yeah, they're just gonna leave her.
She should just like go back and swap. And then remake.
Woes of a diva.
I guess this'll work. She's getting a poke in.
60 seconds remaining.
Kim's bot had been braver, he could have one clip to the baby when she was getting to mech, right?
Yeah.
And pretty safe because he had recall and was on high ground.
God, that takes so long here.
When she was getting to mech,
So Grape's half.
right?
Yeah.
Grape's full.
And pretty safe because he had recall and was on high ground.
We lose armor. We lose most of Lucio health before we commit to where we know the fuck they are.
Diva was slow again there. They had beat up those ones with them.
Sorry's not even paying attention to the visor.
Did Boat
so
just get
shut up.
that? I wasn't looking.
It was an ult advantage fight. I'm not gonna touch. Alright, well. We see a lot of hesitation come out and some poor coordination. A lot of like just random ult presses. I don't know what it is. Like the idea to jump them up there I think is fine if you want to. You could also split push, but like the coordination that you're exhibiting is not it's not good enough. There's not enough damage follow-up. It's like the Winston will go in, then the Diva will go in, but they've both already been poked out of their armor before they actually commit. We saw the Lucio ult come in late. Like as soon as you turn this corner, you can just drop beat and like speed people in, and then stay with your Zenyatta so he's actually able to contribute, or we can actually find on point. You know they have 6 ultimates, so you don't actually have to hard commit there. They hadn't used anything but bombs, so they had 5 ultimates. Instead, we're going to use like bead, and then we're going to use blade when we know they have Transfalc. Like, I don't know. We had one good look this entire push, and it was
Coming down lower.
this one
Yes, they are circling around from second point.
to avoid it all. This was our one good look,
I was expecting it.
Oh, they saw it.
All we gotta do is get in
and
that
we
little
split the fuck up.
corner there where Rez is. They're good.
But they
Enemy
left
team
boat
has
mode
to-
alone. It's boat calling.
Leave boat alone. Person who's supposed to be helping him doesn't react
For help.
in time.
Both exposed to the soldier.
And his positioning becomes compromised because he's forced to go this way against the Tracer instead of like staying here. So now he's diveable. I don't know where Boop was. Maybe we used it earlier.
Get in that little corner there where Rez is. They're good.
But they
Enemy
left
team
boat
has
mode
to-
alone. It's boat calling for help.
Both exposed to the soldier.
We boop it now. We boop like laterally instead of like interceding and then booping away. That's where Boop went.
Do it, Max.
And we like
Yes,
fucked our
they're good.
line of scrimmage.
But they
Enemy
left
team
boat
has to
mode
come.
So
alone.
like
It's boat calling for help.
where's Boat? Boat's here. We're protecting Boat here. Boat can continue rotating this way and end up setting up here, away from the Tracer who was here, away from the Winston's here. Instead, we don't peel effectively because we like lose our line of scrimmage here, essentially. I think this Winston bubble's fine. But like, watch this fight develop. It's like we're so split already. Grape's looking this way. Max over here. The tanks are both over here. The Zen is still in the middle getting focused. When like Zen, I don't even know, dude. Ideally, Zen is able to walk this way and the Boop sends the Winston behind his team where he can't be supported here. Or the entire team here rotates and sets up a line of scrimmage here on the corner with Boat like back in his pocket.
Exposed to the soldier.
But like our Boop wasn't effective. His Diva coming in is getting value on him. the tanks and Mac are like not peeling. Like a punch sends this away so it doesn't happen, you know. This was our only look
Do it, Mac.
for over a 4-minute push.
Bonk, bonk,
Oh, yes.
bonk. Oh!
Yeah. And the entire team is dead though. But hey, you got it. Oh, punch him, yeah. Oh no, you
Oh,
missed.
Hey, Mac was.
I don't know. The coordination is just huge. Earlier in the scrim, it was just randomly pressing Q, but we see here we like don't have a plan going in, and people are not on the same page right away. So it's like we'll walk in, we'll eat some poke, we make a decision while eating poke, and then we commit, and we wonder why we lose. Or we spend 3 fights losing without drawing out any of their ultimates, because see, they have 6 ultimates here 2 minutes in. And like, they're not really forced to use any of them, because the next fight is just Tracer Bomb. And the fight after that, they get to burn everything. And that takes us 2 minutes to do. I guess because of the distance on the map and because we're being so hesitant. And so, like, yeah.